Former President Trump slammed former Representative Liz Cheney, Republican of Wyoming, early Friday after she made her first appearance in the campaign trail beside Vice President Harris, calling Cheney a low IQ war hawk. Liz Cheney lost her congressional seat by the largest margin in the history of Congress for a sitting representative, Trump wrote in a post on Truth Social. The people of Wyoming are really smart. I don't think that's true. I looked it up earlier. There was a representative named Bob Inglis, South Carolina Republican, but during the 2010 midterm, he lost his primary. I think by a margin of like 71 to 20 something. Like it was bigger than the Cheney one. So that's she is the second lowest, but she's not technically the lowest. She is the low IQ warhawk that, as a member of the J6 Unselect Committee of Political Hacks and Thugs, illegally destroyed and deleted all documents, information, evidence. He added. The former president also criticized Cheney's father, former Vice President Dick Cheney, trashing his foreign policy decision making and suggesting the Cheney family is not wanted by today's Republican Party. His comments come after they both announced last month that they would vote for Harris. Her father, Dick, was a leader of our ridiculous journey into the Middle East, where trillions of dollars were spent, millions of people were killed, and for what? Nothing, Trump said of the older Cheney, who confirmed in early September that he would back Harris' 2024 White House contest. Well, today, these two fools, because the Republican Party no longer wants them, endorsed the most liberal senator in the U.S. Senate, further left than even Pocahontas or crazy Bernie Sanders, lying Kamala Harris. He continued. What a pathetic couple that is, both suffering gravely from Trump derangement syndrome. Good luck to them both. Liz Cheney, a vocal Trump critic, joined the Democratic nominee in Wisconsin Thursday, encouraging attendees in Ripon, Wisconsin, known as the birthplace of the Republican Party, to follow her and reach across the political spectrum in November. We may disagree on some things, but we are bound together by the other things that matter to us as Americans more than any other, and that is our duty to our Constitution, our belief in the miracle and the blessing of this great nation, Cheney said during the campaign event. There's a little bit more they mentioned here. I'll go over what Trump said. Well, Liz Cheney lost for Congress, Trump told the outlet before rallying voters in Saginaw, Michigan, Thursday afternoon. She was terrible. Liz Cheney is a stupid war hawk. All she wants to do is shoot missiles at people. I really think it hurts. Frankly, I think they hurt each other. I think they're so bad, both of them. Harris has made an effort to court some disaffected Republicans in the campaign trail. In August, Republicans for Harris kicked off with former Representative Adam Kinzinger and Georgia Lieutenant Governor George Duncan leading the effort. We may not see eye to eye on every issue, and we are going to get back to a healthy two-party system. I am sure of that, where we will have vigorous debates, Harris said Thursday. So, what's always interesting to me is how I remember as a child, like just seeing how much people despised Dick Cheney. I think if I remember correctly, he left office with a 13% approval rate, and just a widely reviled figure. So when Trump mentions, the trillions of dollars that were spent in the Middle East and all the lives that were lost, and it was, for nothing, I agree with him. When he says that the modern Republican Party doesn't want Cheney anymore, I agree, but that's only because you got to remember Liz was the third highest ranking member of the House until like a few months before she lost her primary. So she was someone who, in spite of mimicking a lot of positions of her dad and the party having a lot of these like non-interventionist people like Rand Paul, there was a place for her that was still there. And what Trump doesn't seem to be realizing is, although Cheney probably has, well, I'm not going to say agreements with Harris because that would be disingenuous, but whatever disagreements that Cheney almost certainly has with Harris, his biggest problem with Trump, like Trump wants to call it Trump derangement syndrome, but it's personal. Trump is the reason his daughter no longer has a political career. He is the singular reason that she went from being potentially the second female Speaker of the House to now teaching at some college, which is not an embarrassing position, but it's clearly not what she would prefer to do. She most certainly would still like to be in the House, leading the charge against the evil socialist communist Democrats. And because of Trump's January 6th crap and his endorsement of her primary challenger, it all went to nothing. And it's so wild to me, as someone who started following this stuff back in 2013, to think about how I remember that period of Obama's first and the latter part of it, that early part of his second term, where you couldn't get Bush 43 to say anything about him, right? But there was his former VP just sitting there, trash talking him. He's weak on this, bad on that, da da da. Da. And how insane is it that here we are, over 10 years later, and now you have Cheney, you have the Republican, the second to last Republican vice president, who criticized Obama repeatedly, now endorsing his former vice president's vice president for president. It is nuts. I'm in kind of disbelief, because I know endorsements are not that big of a deal, but think about this. Trump's own VP won't endorse him. Pence said, I'm not endorsing him. Bush's former VP is endorsing the Democrats. There is a very, and you also have Kinzinger and Liz, for Harris as well. There is a very clear pattern where Republicans who either are no longer in office, or they're in some really small position where they feel like they're secure and don't have to worry about, getting involved with doing national things, they're not backing Trump. And that's because the biggest reason, there's a lot of Republicans in the House and Senate who clearly thought January 6th was stupid on his part, and, have a whole wide array of disagreements with him on other things as well. But the reason that they endorse him is because they want to keep their jobs. They know that they're in a cult, and if they speak out against him at all, their career will be over like that. I mean, look at Liz. This is a lady who voted with Trump over 90% of the time when she was in the House of Representatives. And now she's a pariah in her own party because she was part of the January 6th committee, even though her votes are in line with Trump overwhelmingly. Because it's not about policy or, we hear all this stuff about immigration and fixing the border and, we're bringing back jobs and all the rest of this crap. But what the true most important thing about these parties and these politicians is the cult of personality. And when you are not in line with whoever that leader figure, especially on the Republican side, they will toss you. This is why, as Biden's brains were leaking out of his ear, almost no Democrat who was a sitting member of Congress, or even just a sitting politician in general, like a governor, wanted to say, hey, look, he needs to step down, until that debate performance was so bad, they became afraid that they would lose their seats if people weren't inspired to go and vote for this man that looked like he was dying on stage. It's the same thing with the Republicans in Congress. A lot of them know that Trump is saying stupid stuff, that he's electoral poison, right? They remember the 2022 midterm, but they are willing to either say nothing or let this play out because they want to make sure that the most important thing to them, keeping their seats, ends up occurring. It is complete cowardice. And nobody thinks it's sad that the nature of American politics is to just run for office over and over, and you want to be an elected leader, right? But you're so afraid to just not endorse somebody, or to just come out and say, look, I agree with Trump on this, that, or the other, but him not condemning a coup is a bad thing. God, seeing Dick Cheney in the Democrat column is just, it is. I know a lot of people like to forget about the early 2000s when it comes to politics, but he was, I can say pretty definitively, one of the most despised Republicans. And now he still is one of the most despised Republicans, but it's mostly by his own side. The Democrats are fine with him endorsing Harris. Same thing with Liz. God, I wish somebody would make a video where they show Liz at a press conference debunking Biden and talking about how bad of a president he was, to her campaigning with Harris. Now it's like two different worlds in just 2 years. Like, things have changed so much. But again, it's not because of policy. It's just, oh, I'm mad that my career was ended over something stupid. So just a sad series of developments.